The biggest ick that I hear from women is this sentence. I don't know. I don't know. Yes, you do. Bitch, yes, you do. Yes, you do know. You know. Stop saying you don't know. Delete that phrase from your vocabulary. You are your own best oracle. How to get to that version of you that you see, that you feel, that you have all over your vision board. The her that you want to become, she stepped into that version of her because she listened to her intuition and her guidance. This internal guidance system, it's our own internal GPS. My number one offender on the list, who is the biggest culprit to undercutting your intuition, is your Well, now that we have our tallow lip balm on, we can begin. Hi, I'm Kimberly, and welcome back to the Afterglow. Girl, you're your own best oracle. Every woman is her own best oracle. You know what's best for you, point blank, okay? No one else knows what you know to be true. Your intuition, your deep inner knowings, the ways in which you pull information down and into your body where you just know something, you got to learn to trust that. You got to really learn how to dial that in, learning how to trust my own intuition, learning how to hear and discern my own intuition and honor it. I have made some mistakes. I've also made some great moves. And today we're going to talk about all of it. Dun, 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 dun. We're in my new office art studio space, and I'm going to take this down off the wall. This right here is the first card in the I Am Her Oracle deck. When I say first, I mean it's the first that I drew by hand. I made this. This is my art. But it will be the last card in the deck. Now let's see if we can get this to hang back up. Aha, perfect. You are your own best oracle. I've been working on drawing these oracle cards by hand and putting them all together. I have all my journals down here under my desk, my sketchbooks that contain the drawings as well as the written books drafts. Now I've got like 10 cards done, if that even, and it's just the first draft, but I'm committed to doing this by hand and I am having fun creating them. This idea came to me because I love to draw and create and write, and I wanted something to focus that energy and attention towards. My intuition speaks to me the best when I am in my creative practice. When I'm writing, when I'm drawing, when I'm moving my body, sometimes with plant medicines, cannabis, mushrooms, when I'm in that energy of being in a receptive state, in the creative state, in the flow state of just listening rather than trying to think and logic and reason and bring something through. For me, that happens in those states. It's creative, it's flowing, it's fluid, and I love the messages that I receive. And yeah, I'm a girl who likes to pull some tarot cards or some oracle cards. I have a whole stack of them over here in my living room. And I do consult them, but are you consulting yourself first? Are you actually paying attention to what you think and hear and know? Or are you just outsourcing your own intuition to the little booklet that comes in that card deck, or to the girl on YouTube, or to the astrology reading that you had, or the human design reading that you had, or that one random person that told you that thing one time? We as women really need to hone in and to build as a skill within ourselves, because we are our own best oracles. We are always going to know best for ourselves. The mistakes that I've made with my intuition over the years have always been when I've gone against what I knew to be the best case scenario for me. I don't want you to make those same mistakes. I don't want you to make those same mistakes. I want you to have a strong, powerful intuition. I want you to learn to trust it. And I want you to be able to utilize tools like oracle cards, especially like the ones I'm creating, as a way to return the power to your hands, return all that energy and that power back to you where it belongs. It's not about what I think you need to do with your life or whatever else anyone else tells you to do. What do you know deep down in yourself to be true, honest, correct, accurate, authentic? And we're going to go into it today. So I've consulted my notes because, of course, like a good girl, I have prepared. I was watching a podcast with Florence Given, who I absolutely love. She's an artist and writer, very just a vibe. And she talked about her intuition as a fax machine. So not FAX, like the thing from the 90s where before we had email, we had to fax shit. It's facts, like a fact. It's a fact. FACTS, fax machine. I heard that and I was like, yes, oh my God, amazing. That is it. I was already planning to talk about this, every woman is her own best oracle, today. When I heard that in that podcast, I literally thought to myself, Thank you, Florence. Thank you for the inspo. Thank you for the talking point. We're bringing that in as point number one. Your intuition is a fact machine, okay? You know what's best for you. You know the truth within yourself always. There are times we try to outsource it. There are times when we try to ask our friends for advice, or our family, or our community, or the cards, or the reading on YouTube, or whatever. You really need to learn, like, and I say you really need to learn, like all this pressure to learn how your intuition speaks to you. And when you really know that it is the truth, and then those tools, all those other tools, like the oracle cards, the astrology readings, the human design, woo-woo spiritual practices, the embodiment work, listening to other creators and other people talk about things and giving advice, all of that stuff is secondary to your own internal advice giving, knowing machine. I love the idea of women being able to really tap into that for themselves, like fully and completely, because then we are so powerful and we are so in our lane, in our zone. I've betrayed my intuition in the past. I definitely have things I've known to be true that I've gone against, or that I haven't acted on, or that I gaslit myself about because I was trying to logic and reason them. And that doesn't work when it comes to intuition, because what is intuition? Intuition is that deep internal knowing. It's when God, source, the universe, your higher self, whatever you want to call it, speaks to you through your body sensations and your feelings. And it's just like deep, a gut instinct. The intuition is more of this like internal guidance system. We'll call it that. Everyone has one. It's not like just only the girls who are the psychic readers or the really tapped in spiritual ones can actually access this. Everyone has it, and it's really not as woo as those things sound. We also have the ability to strengthen this. It's a sense and a sensation that we have the ability to strengthen, to work on, to pay attention to give more credit to, but it takes time, effort, and focus. The biggest mistakes that I've made when it comes to my intuition in the past is literally listening to anyone but myself. And I'm going to go through a list of things here and explain a little bit. But first, oh my God, I forgot. How could I forget? First, we need to read you a little poem that's from my phone, from my notes archive. Ahem. Every woman is an oracle. I've never met a single one who didn't know exactly what she wants, what she desires, what she craves, what she yearns for, what she wishes for. The only thing in the way of her fully claiming it is herself. Her stories of unworthiness, her stories of shame, her stories of what's wrong or bad, her stories of fear, her stories of rejection, her stories that overshadow her magic. What happens when these stories start to wash away? She becomes the woman of her dreams. Magic starts to follow her everywhere. Her life becomes full of fun, pleasure, and joy. And that's the I Am Her card, right? That's the draft of the I Am Her card, which is this one that you see behind me here that I already showed you. Every woman knows what she wants, what she desires, what she craves, what she yearns for, what she knows is hers. We all know that. The biggest ick that I hear from women when they're talking about those things in their life is this sentence. I don't know. I don't know. Right? It's yes, you do, bitch. Yes, you do. Yes, you do know. You know. Stop saying you don't know. Stop. Delete that phrase from your vocabulary unless it's something that you genuinely actually do not know. And it's like, I do not know that. Could you please help me? Or I do not know that. I would love to learn more. I do not know, but I'm willing to find out. Right? Like, just delete I don't know as a blanket filler statement phrase from your vocabulary. Because if you're walking around talking about your feelings, experiences, and stories, and you just casually throw in I don't know all the time, girl, you are undercutting your intuition so hard, so fast. You're not even giving her a chance to speak. You haven't even given her the microphone. You haven't even let her talk. You just basically said, I don't know, and dismissed the whole thing. Yes, you do. Yes, you do know. You are your own best oracle, and you know everything that you need to know. You are her already. You are her. You're becoming her. She has the information that you need. Are you listening? Are you listening? That card, the I Am Her card, it's the last card in the deck. It is the fully expressed, fully exposed, fully lit up, fully aligned version of yourself. That's what her is to me. A lot of women talk about becoming her, that girl, the main character energy, hot girl shit. We have all these ways of assigning this like goal version of ourselves. I am her is a mantra and affirmation that I've been working with for years. I'm excited to dig into this trunk of journals with y'all and pull out some of those original writings and things where I was manifesting and learning and stepping into that version of me. When I hear the phrase, I am her, or becoming her, or stepping into her, I immediately go right to intuition. I immediately go right to connecting with your higher self, connecting with the divine spirit, connecting with all the source energy about how to get to that version of you that you see in your mind's eye, that you feel in your body, that you have all over your vision board, that you are really honestly and accurately like trying to step into and become even more of. And I've done that. I've done multiple iterations of that over the span of my life. I'm in a new process right now because I'm becoming this artist, writer, oracle card reader. I'm in the process of this. You're watching the becoming of this version of her for me. And I got here because I listened to my intuition. I got here because I started to write what I was hearing and feeling. I got here because I really started to get up close and personal with my own thoughts, feelings, actions, desires, and say, interesting. There's this different kind of energy that comes through when you know you're receiving a message from your intuition versus when you're in a story. And if I go back to that poem, that's exactly what was in her way, right? It was the stories of shame, the stories of fear, or stories of rejection. And actually, those aren't her stories and those aren't your stories. Those are what you've learned over your life. That's what you've learned from society. That's what you've learned from the women before you. That's what you've learned from the men around you. That's what you've learned from the media, from the news, from whatever the hell source is, right? From the books you read and the shows you watch. Those are the stories you hold because of what you learned. But really, those stories, we should take the her out of it. We should just take that right out. We should just say from the stories of. It's not her stories. She doesn't want the her that you want to become, the I am her that you want to become. She doesn't have those stories. She's out here doing the thing. She's out here reading her poetry on the internet. She's out here making millions. She's out here doing whatever the hell she wants because she stepped into that version of her because she listened to her intuition and her guidance, this internal guidance system. It's our own internal GPS. We have the ability to tune into that anytime we want. We all generally know how to do that, and we generally know what it feels like when we get those pings. But in case you're new to this, or in case you're just not sure, the easiest way for me to discern the difference between my intuition, notice I'm like using my hand to demonstrate my body, my torso. My intuition comes in here. It comes from my heart, it comes from my gut, it comes from my womb, it comes from a knowing in my body. My stories come from my head. My stories come from the processing thinking mind that's trying to create a solution or create a path or is trying to logic and reason my way to the thing, which is just not how it works. We ignore the intuition or we gaslight our intuition for a variety of reasons in a variety of ways, which we're about to get into. And my hope is that by highlighting these ways for you, that this is what we will stop doing, that this is what you will be able to move through and work through. Number one offender, my number one offender on the list here about who is the biggest culprit to undercutting your intuition is yourself. It's you, babe. It's you and you, okay? So you hear or feel these knowings, but then you logic and reason your way out of it. You hear or feel these desires, cravings, the things you yearn for, and you logic and reason your way out of it into something else because you go with what's safe, what's familiar, what makes sense, what's logical, what seems possible. And instead of just trusting that this guidance, this information, this intuitive knowing that you got was given to you by God, by source, by the higher self that is going to allow you to do the thing. If you have that feeling, if you have that knowing, it's coming for you, it's happening. All you have to do is follow it and start taking action in alignment with that. And if you're not doing that, then you're wasting your damn time and you're just ignoring your pangs. Okay. I think it was Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Big Magic. I think this is the book where she talks about how ideas are conscious things and they come and they pick the artist or they pick the person and they pick like, hey, I want you to birth this idea into the world. So they come in through the intuition, they come in this pings, and then the guidance shows up and it starts knocking on your door. And the idea is like, hey, Kim, start a YouTube channel. Hey, Kim, put your oracle cards out there. Hey, Kim, read your poetry online. Like, hey, Kim, let's talk to women. Those are the things that come in. Those are the ideas that came knocking on my door. And for a while, I really resisted them. And for a while, while I thought, I don't know about that. Like, how is that? Like, what's that going to do for me? I don't know. I don't know about this. And I resisted it for a little while. And then eventually I realized, hey, wait, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that because it sounds fun and exciting. And I don't really know exactly what's going to happen here other than that I'm going to enjoy doing it. So let's go. Those ideas came knocking on my door and I answered and I started to act upon them, but I just as easily could have said, no, no, thank you, and push the ideas away or not open the door to the ideas. Now the ideas don't just die right then and there. They go knock on the next door. They're going to go look for the next person to bring that idea into life. They came to you, they chose you, but if you are not going to follow through on it, they're going to go find somebody else who will. And I'll be honest, I've seen that happen to myself a couple other times in my life. And I just was like, oh shit, I had that idea, but I didn't do it. Or I had that idea and I never acted on it. Or I had that knowing that that was for me and I just didn't follow through. And so the ideas move on and new ones will come in. It's not like you only get one chance at anything. But for us as women who are tapping into our intuition, the sooner you hear that and the sooner you honor it, the more magic that comes into your life, the more of the results that you want in your life. Following the pings of the intuition, you are your own worst gaslighter. You are your own worst, the thoughts and stories that you talk yourself out of all of the things that you want and or feel and or know, girl, like just like, stop. I wish it was that simple. It's not that simple. It's a complex system of rewiring our thoughts and our feelings to be able to step into that. Number two, this is number two ways that you undercut your intuition. And this one is going to hurt a little bit. Okay. Number two way that you gaslight your intuition is by telling your girlfriends. By telling your girlfriends and their reactions, their projections, their judgments, their insecurities, their stories of shame, fear, guilt, whatever, get projected onto you because they don't know any better. And most women do this, unfortunately. Every woman is her own best oracle, but somehow we forget that our friends, that means that's true for our friends too. So if I tell my friend something about my intuition, about my oracle, about me, and then she responds with her fears, her insecurity, her trauma, her uncertainty, her lack of knowing, because it's not her intuition, it's mine. And then I start to get, I'm like, oh, wait, maybe she's right. Wait, maybe she's right. Maybe that's not for me. Maybe that is too risky. Maybe that isn't like as cool and interesting as I thought. Or maybe like, wait, okay, like shit, maybe I should consider her path or I should consider what she thinks. Wrong. Big X, wrong. Every woman is her own best oracle, which means that you know best for you and which means that she knows best for her. How does this play out and what happens? I'll talk a little bit more about this because this is a real pain point and a real thing that I know women are struggling with and doing unconsciously. Most of us don't even realize that we're doing this. We as women are social beings. We want to talk to our friends. We want to tell our friends our stories. We want to consult with the women around us. We want to go to our tribe. We want to go to our council and say, hey, what do you think? And there's a time and place for that, for sure. But you have to realize and have to understand there's a little bit more to it than that. So you get all excited about these pings you keep getting or the dreams you've been having or the messages that are coming through, the signs you're seeing. And so you immediately run and tell your bestie, okay? And you tell her, this, and this, blah, 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 blah. And she's hearing all that through her lens of her stories, her experiences, her traumas, and she's going to respond from that place. She's going to respond from that place. You have to know that, okay? She's going to respond from that place. And she may have had negative experiences with whatever your intuition ping is, or her intuition might tell her something totally different. But because oftentimes we have a hard time separating ourselves from our friends, from our family, from our lovers, we have a hard time separating that we are different people with different stories, different experiences, different opinions, different knowings. And then we just take what they say as fact or take what they say as more valuable than our own intuition, our own experiences, our own feelings. And we believe their stories now on top of ours. So no. And most of the time what that does is it makes women play smaller. It makes women second guess their gut knowings. It makes women feel bad or wrong about themselves and their desires. And it ends up being this like cluster of, I love that word, cluster. It becomes a cluster of trauma bonding in a way versus like if you have a knowing and an experience and you bring that and you share that to your girlfriends or you bring that and you share that with your bestie, Be this type of friend in response. Okay. I'm not going to tell you what not to do. I'm going to tell you what to do. So this is, you can be this type of friend. And when you see and feel what that feels like, you're going to be like, oh, I want my friends to respond like this too. Here's what you do. When a woman comes to you and tells you about her knowing, her dream, her experience, her yearning, her desire, listen to her and do not respond about what you think. You can ask her questions to get more clarity about what she's thinking. You can say, wow, I love that for you. Or, oh, tell me more. You can ask, hey, how does that feel in your body? Oh my God, I can tell you're excited. How does that feel? Tell me more about the feeling, right? Gas her up. Gas her up, ask her questions, get her more in the zone of the good feelings, get her thinking bigger and fuller, like help her bring that vision to life, help her see it from a place that is like, wow, help her see some of her blind spots too, right? Help her step into more of her power, help her step into those bigger, more expansive versions of herself that maybe feel a little bit scary. But what you don't want to do is be like, oh, I don't know if that's going to work. I wouldn't try that. Oh, are you sure about that? Are you sure? I don't know if that's going to, like, or tell her that she's wrong or bad for thinking that way. Maybe the guy you're dating, you really want to turn things up a notch. You feel it like he's the one, or you feel it like, wow, this is really going somewhere. But your friends are, they're going to be happy for you. But if she's single and it's like, now all of a sudden this is going to change your relationship because you have this boyfriend, or if she's in this place in her life where she's man hating and you're over here happy with a man, she's going to be like, I don't know. Or say she's in a very happy relationship and now she's all excited that you have a partner too and you guys can go on double dates, like a totally different response. But you see what I'm getting at is her experience and how you shifting or changing or doing the thing may impact her is where she's going to respond from. That's the part where I think we really, as women, get to do a better job with our friends, is be able to be there for them in these key pivotal moments of our lives, in these key magical moments of our lives where we really are birthing something new, transitioning identities, stepping into this new chapter of ourselves, or like really honoring that intuitive hit for big life changes, as well as an intuitive hit of like, hey girl, I don't think we should go to that party tonight. It just doesn't feel right in my body. And honoring that too, because that's your intuition as well. You don't know what you're preventing yourself from stepping into. I'm not saying to like universally believe your friends and not reflect things to them that are maybe like a little bit uncomfortable, or like things you see like caution or something. If you also are having a ping or something about it, the main point here is never undercut another woman's intuition. Never tell her she's wrong or bad or shame her for it. Never question her on it, because what that's doing, you're doing that to yourself. You are doing that to your damn self. You are undercutting your own intuition every time you undercut another woman's intuition. We all are our own best oracle. Everyone knows best for them damn selves. Okay? Everyone knows best for them damn selves. So keep your opinion to yourself if it's contrary to what her intuition is telling her. Keep your judgments to yourself. Don't stop spilling that shit onto your friends. Honestly, it's not a cute look. It's not fun. It's not enjoyable. And you'll have better relationships if you keep your shit to you and you let them do their thing. And also you'll both be more empowered if you're both honoring your intuition and stepping into that next iteration, that next chapter, that next like more expanded version of you, because you're both listening. So anyway, very long-winded point number 2 about your girlfriends that are cutting your intuition. It's a very real thing. I've experienced this. I don't like it when it happens. I've gotten way better at recognizing it. And when you find those women in your life, those besties in your life that you can tell anything to, you can be so honest and raw and real. And you can tell them whatever it is that you're really feeling. Cherish those women, hug them tight, thank them for being beautiful and amazing friends, and then be that friend back to someone else, because your girl, like, ride or dies. We love them. So, okay. Number 3 way we undercut our intuition is family, friends, community. Okay. So this is also including the men in your life. So rather than just specifically your besties, your inner circle, your girls, also your community, your friends, your family can do the same thing. And it's much the same way as what I just described with your girlfriends, but it usually comes on a little bit different because it could be a little bit more masculine. As a girl who has been primarily led by her logical brain and thought and intellect for most of my life, I am learning to trust this beautiful divine vessel that is my body. And what's happening as I'm noticing over time that I get more and more connected with the feminine, and I get more and more in my body, more connected to my senses, more connected to my physical 3D senses, but also my clair senses, What I find to be true is that I really learned the distinct difference between men and women in this realm. So men have intuition too. There's no question about that. They do. They know, they have gut instincts. They have the same sensory way that we do as women, but they just kind of work with it a little bit different. And a man is very logical and very rational. Okay. Women are very feeling based. So we can get those hits of our intuition really quick, and we can't explain it. Like, we may not be able to explain it, but we at least, like, we really know, like, this, like, it's a deep body knowing something's not right here. This is right. We have to move in this direction, like that oracleness of a woman. Men have that same ability, but they are always going to operate from here. Like, they're just always going to operate from there. They have to logic and reason themselves through it. So no matter how much a man's body is telling him this is the right thing, this is the direction we need to go, this is what feels correct, she's the one that I feel really good with. No matter how much his body is telling him that, he still has to logic and reason in his way there. Sorry. It's just how men work. On the other side, they're expert problem solvers. They will have that feeling and knowing, and they'll figure out a way to solve that problem. A lot of times they're slower at it too. Like, women are instant. Like, so we get the feeling, we're like, no. Men are like, get the feeling, wait about it for a little bit, think it through, problem solve it. It's just a little bit of a different experience. And this is all based on my experience. I'm sure there are men that are much more like connected to their feminine essence of intuition, and they act quicker. Generally, this is how society works and operates. So now when we bring that into the conversation here for ourselves as women, if we're around a lot of men, our families, our workplace, our community, and our society is a much more masculine structure that needs logic and reason, that needs stability, safety, security. You can't just start the YouTube channel and hope for the best. You got to have a plan, and you got to have a marketing tactic, and you got to make sure you have revenue streams, yada, yada, yada. That's the masculine. The feminine's like, this feels fun and this feels exciting and I think it'll work, so let's go try. The feminine leads with feeling. The masculine leads with thinking and rational. So just be aware, like, notice how the same things I said about sharing your intuition with your girlfriends, really be discerning about who in general you share that with. And if it's your man, like your partner, hopefully he learns to trust your intuition just as much as you do, because then you guys are a power couple, unstoppable. When you can combine the feeling and the sensing with the logic and the reason, that's where some real magic happens. But we can do that within ourselves too. We don't need a man to reflect that to us. And it's like, let's face it, we're in relationships, we have communities, we have families, we have relationships with people. Like, we're going to be interacting with others. And so they may influence us in the same way. I'm not saying don't share your stuff with your people. What I'm saying is those deep intuitive pings that you get that are much more mystical, are much more psychic, are much more like divinely guided. Be careful about those ones, about who and when and how you share them, because they're messages from God for you. And they're messages for you to contemplate and to consider and to do something with. It's not for everybody in your council and everybody in your life to decide. It's you. It's your life. You're your own best oracle. Okay? Cool. Okay. Now, number 4, and this is the same but different, is online trolls. Okay? Yes, the trolls, but also any online content that you're consuming. Okay, let's take this into the realm of like practicality now. We outsource our health to the girl on Instagram who seems to have the body that we want, or we outsource our money stories to the person who is making 7 figures and has a thriving business. And so we think we need to be like them and we need to do it like them. Or the woman who has the relationship and the babies that you want. You're like, oh, I have to do everything that she did so I can get that same result. And while, yes, absolutely, a whole other video that I'm going to do is talking about the women with the result that you want. Yes, 100% learn from them. And you really have to understand that you are different and your flavor and your experience is different. What's meant for you is not right for someone else, and what's right for somebody else is not always meant for you. When we outsource our intuition or we outsource our desires, the things that we want, the things we're going to create, the how we're going to do it to online creators or people in the online world, people on Instagram, people on YouTube, people on the news. Oh my God, don't ever consult the news to fact check something in your intuition unless like you're having intuitive hit about something that is a world event. Our online communities and spaces, that happens actively, where we may go to those people to get information or advice. We may actively seek them out, but then it also happens passively, which is as you're scrolling, you're inundated with all this information and all these different realities and all these different people's lives and opinions and feelings. And anytime that we see something that's counter to our own beliefs, or anytime we see something that's like counter to our intuition, we automatically gaslight ourselves. And now we are back in the loop. Now we're back in the loop of step number one, which is where you become your own gaslighter of yourself. Be careful about the content you consume online. Really gut check yourself about if this feels expansive for you before you blindly follow someone on the internet, or before you believe everything that you see. All of those ways are ways that we gaslight ourselves out of following that true desire. The ways that we say, I don't know, or the way we ask somebody else, or the way that we just defer to the cards, or we defer to the tarot reading, or we defer to the astrology chart. That's all ways that you are bypassing your own internal guidance system that is made specifically for you, that is the best way for you to receive divine guidance, which is the best way for you to follow the magic in your life, to live that lit up, alive, aligned life. We want to get better at building that trust muscle. There's a couple ways you can do it. One is just check in. When was the last time you were right about something? When was the last time, or how many times can you count of when you were right, when your intuition was right? We need to give ourselves credit for that. Write those examples down and really contemplate and consider the big intuitive pings as well as the smaller ones. Whether it was, yeah, I knew that she was going to cancel that meeting today, or I knew that we were going to reschedule dinner, or I knew they were going to break up, or I knew that this was going to happen in my business, or whatever it is, big or small. When you have that I knew statement, when you want to tell somebody, I was right, I told you so, like that feeling, that's your intuition speaking and affirming that this internal guidance system works, that you were in fact right. Some of my favorite words, you were right. How many times were you right? Give yourself those specific examples and really pay attention to that. The other way is to realize where you went against your intuition. So the time where you had a strong feeling and you had a strong knowing, but you did something else, either because somebody else told you to, or because you were afraid, or because you were unsure, or you didn't really trust that. Go back to those examples too, because while you might think that those are examples of all the times where it didn't work and where you were wrong and shame yourself for not trusting your intuition, we're going to flip that story right now. And we're going to say, I had this knowing and this feeling. I went against it, which that's something separate. Okay. And I was right. And I was right, not but I was right. And I was right. So I was right, right? Because now we have two examples, both sides of the coin, all the times I was right and I knew it. And then all the times I was right, but I didn't do it. And that is the same list because it's all affirming that your intuition was correct. If you're just learning to build this muscle, or you're learning to tune into this muscle, great ways to practice listening, because your intuition, about hearing your intuition, is really a practice of listening, meditation, creativity, embodiment practices, dance, movement, fitness. Go in the shower and relax and enjoy. Great ideas come in there. Intuition comes when you're in a down-regulated state, when you're in your body, when you're breathing well, when you're relaxed, and when you're receptive. Okay? Because when it doesn't come is when you're lost in your thoughts and your stories, when you're all stressed out, when you have no time in your day. We need to get into a state of receptivity. My favorite ways to do it: tuning forks, meditation, plant medicines, cannabis, mushrooms, with conscious use and with intention there too. And then prayer. This is one of the things that I have really started to hone in for myself. We're constantly in communication with God. Okay. We're constantly in communication with God. You think you're in your own thoughts by yourself. You're not. Okay. You're sharing those thoughts. Well, we can talk about telepathy later. You're not alone in your thoughts ever, ever. And at bare minimum, it's just you and God in there. So can you listen? Can you listen instead of actively thinking? And that's why being in those receptive states, the creativity, the flow state, the openness, the meditative states, that's why those give the juice, is because you can actually hear that God's in there with you and that the conversation is alive within you. And you can create something with it, and you can externalize those thoughts into your writing, into your art, into your movement practice, into your creativity, into your food, into your sex, all the ways that you can be more receptive and be more open to the messages that are coming through. When you really start to build this muscle with your intuition, you become unstoppable. You become unstoppable. Your life becomes full of magic. The signs start coming in from all directions. The information comes through and you just know things, or you know how to do things, or you're able to follow these pings and this instruction in a way that's like, wow, look at all this magic around me. Look at all these amazing experiences that I'm having. And it's all because I knew to follow this. I knew to go here. I knew to turn here. I need to do this thing. And it can happen in really small ways too. It can happen in really small, seemingly insignificant ways. Following the ping to go to a certain restaurant, or following the ping to change your schedule that day, or following the ping to buy a journal. That's what I talked about in my video about reading my diary, because that's where I had no experience writing or journaling. I just kept getting the ping and I followed and I went. And then now here we are all these 10 years later, and I'm an obsessive writer, journaler, artist, coach, teacher, all of those things. And none of that would have happened if I didn't follow that ping to get that journal that day. Okay. I think that's enough. I think I've yapped your ear off for far long enough, and I'm hungry and I want a snack. And so, okay, love you. Bye. Okay, love you. Bye.